Hey, g'day. Welcome to camp. Right, so Mimi and I are in Galisteo, New Mexico. Here's where we're gonna winter. It's like pretty bloody awesome. So we're gonna winter in my 14-foot crow teepee, but I set it up Hidatsa style. So as a crow split off from the Hidatsa, I believe in the 17th century. So they're closely related. They're both four-pole people. And most of the mountain tribes were four-pole, and they had different variations and stuff like that. But it's for the Hidatsa. If you've spent any time in North Dakota along Missouri, you know there just isn't any lodge poles, right? So they had to pull in their lodge poles. So they set it up with 14 poles total, including the 2 smoke poles, instead of the minimum of like 16 for the crow people. And the Blackfoot, they're another 4-pole people. They use more than that. But anyway, I thought I'd show you how I set mine up, Hidatsa style, and we'll get on to it. First thing is we're going to measure the quad poles. So, got these the quad poles laid out. I'll get those tied up, but I like it about 4 inches. Some say 6 inches or so, but I prefer 4 inches. So like the collage cover comes a little bit closer to the ground. I quite like that. So these two, the bottom ones here, are right up where the small lift pole goes, and then about 1/3 of the way towards the door, I put the other 2 poles. Right, so we get those tied up. So I'm gonna lash these up right where the cover ties onto the lift pole. So I lash it up not tight enough to keep it together, but not so tight that it'll you can't move the poles once it's set up. So it's kind of not real loose, but fairly on the beginning, and it tightens up pretty dang good once you get the quad up. So that's about right where there. And just using the 1/4 inch hemp or sisal rope. Yard on this thing. Too tight, just enough to keep her together. And I'll finish it off with a clove hitch. Maybe a little more than that. I need a little more than that. A little more. There we go. So I'll finish this off with a clove hitch. Job's right and Bob's your uncle. There we go. And then I'll put a lift rope on it. So put the lift rope around it. I'll just go right through this crotch right here. Yeah, one of the reasons I've chose a 14-foot lodge is big enough for like even 2 people, but by myself I can do it all. I can lift the poles, I can manage it all by myself, where even a 16-foot I really have struggled to get it done. So 14-foot works pretty dang good for me. So now I got to re-roll the canvas, the cover, and then we'll raise the quad and start laying in poles. So Good thing, like most of the lodges you see today are Sioux or Cheyenne, Lakota or Cheyenne, right? And they're 3-pole people, and they're the lodges are more like an egg shape with a little bit steeper in the back. So the Crow Lodge I really love because it's almost a circle. So, I mean, it really depends upon how your measurements go, but it's circular. And the 4-pole people, you can always tell a 4-pole lodge by the smoke poles. The 4-pole people go through the flap rather than the Sioux, the Cheyenne have a pocket that the smoke poles fit into. And that's not all 4 people, 4-pole people. Some 4-pole people do have flaps, but in the mountain tribes, I mean, down out west, 4-pole was pretty common. The Salish, the Kootenai, you know, so it's a Blackfoot and the Crow, right? So I prefer it, and you'll notice another thing is that when I get it up and I get all the poles laid in, 4-pole people don't wrap the poles, that wrap the lift line around the poles, so whereas they do with the Sioux and Cheyenne, right? So, and I've been in some pretty nasty wind. It's not, yeah, it's plenty good. So plenty sturdy. Anyway, I'll get this cover rolled back up out of the way. We'll lift this bugger up. All right, so we'll let the fun begin. So I'm not going to set it up with the door going due east. It'll be more like northeast. Just I don't want to. If I'm east, I'm right into the wall. I don't want to do that. So it could be northeast, north, that direction. So northeast. We'll get this thing up. So it can be a challenge sometimes, even at a 14-footer. Now I'll kick the legs out. So it'll be the southwest or the southeast pole, southwest pole, so the northeast pole, the northwest pole. So just gonna kind of get it to where I can start laying in the other poles. I need to move it a little bit, so I'm going to walk it out over here because I want the center to be right in here, so I can catch some shade from this elm here. So I'm going to walk it on over. So the next part is tie the cover to the lift pole, and we'll set the lift pole in the back. So lift poles underneath the cover. Now, tie it up there, but again, I want that. Actually, I want it a little bit, about more 4 inches. 4 inches there. And my lift pole is the stoutest pole of all my tipi poles. The quad poles are the like the second stoutest poles in my tipi poles. All right, so the rest are actually a lot thinner, not nearly as sturdy. Here we go. Let's get this on. So I'm gonna lay. This is the back crotch, right? And the lift pole will be the only one in this crotch. So I need to lay the poles in right now. And I'll get that going right here. Now it's a certain lay for the Crow, especially when you're doing a Hidatsa style. So my first pole will be also in the back, but it's not going to go in the back crotch. That back crotch is only for the lift pole. So we'll get that pole number 1. So first pole is going in the back. I'm going to set it on this side, but it's going in the crotch right there between the northeast and the southeast crotch there. So that's that first one. Then I'll start filling in on like next one's going in the crotch between the northeast and northwest poles. Followed by, so next one is going in the between the southeast and the southwest. Another one between the northeast, northwest. I leave them kind of on a small scale. I'll move them out when I get the cover on. I'll move them out to fill out spaces, but yeah, I want it kind of smaller than what's going to be the final circumference. 2 in this crotch and 2 in the northeast, northwest, between the northeast, northwest crotch. I'm going to slide it in if I can, where it's going to make the bundle of the poles as tight as I can get it. Yeah, the last 2 poles are going where the door poles would be. Be the door poles. Now, just get that cover tied onto the lift pole. Now, this teepee was made by Reliable Tent and Teepee in Billings, Montana. It's a lovely cover. Well made, super nice cover, super nice. The liner and the door, everything were really well done. Yeah, but the stakes they sent me with were like crap. So I'm cutting all new stakes and things like that. So we tie this one. Up as tight as I can get it. Make sure I'm not going too far off the. Yep, that looks good. That's better. You want tight as you can get it. There we go. And we're going to put that bigger into place. So these poles are 16-foot poles. That's the minimum you could use for a 14-foot lodge. But I didn't want 18-foot or more, because I'm still setting this up by myself, right? It'd be nice if Mimi had opposable thumbs and she'd land right in, but she doesn't. So, yeah, the 16-foot poles are doable. You know, when you're by yourself and you're an older fella. So I'm gonna lay this lift pole in. I'm gonna try to get it as close to the original quad as I possibly can. Even a 14-footer still pretty heavy. I'm going to stick this right in this, right there. And then going up. good. Now I'll just unroll it. And hopefully the doors go right in between the two door posts. Looks pretty good. Shake this up a little bit more. Looks pretty good. So next part's put the lacing pins in and make the tie. So this is kind of like their lacing pins are kind of chintzy, but they'll work for now. I'm gonna get some good willow ones, make some willow ones if I can. So get on that. Gotta tie this together as far as I can get it. This part's a little dodgy, a little bit tight. I can do a better job on this. I'll get this through the door. There you go, there's it. So, oh, it's hot in New Mexico, sun, putting watch up. Break. Cheers. See, smoke flat poles. Got a little piece tied, a little stick tied across there, so it doesn't run all the way through. Right, so that's a 4-pole people deal there. I like it if I can get it 4 inches. That's great, right? A little bit more is okay, a little less is okay, but just as long as it's not touching the ground. So 18 pegs to get there around the skin. There's 2 more that will be for the anchor, so there'll be 20 for the skin and the anchor itself. But you can see I twisted them, those ones, and all of them are twisted except for the door. So the door I need to be able to get on and off. But the twisting makes it, you can pull it down tighter. Oh yeah, so she bit. That skin's pretty good. I'm gonna go in and start moving poles around and tightening her up, getting her a little bit better. But that's not too awful bad. Nope. Yeah, gotta show you something cool. Right, this is right over the fence from the lodge. That's a school bus from one of the local towns. I can't remember exactly which one, but it's a horse-drawn school bus. And I wouldn't want to have that in Alaska. That would be the palace, man. Pretty cool. Pretty dang cool. Neighborhood's all right. Lodge is up, skin's up. Gotta get the smoke flat pole out. Those. Not quite as tight as I'd like it to be. It's like I didn't like the coverall should be up another 2 or 3 inches up on the lift pole. You see we got that little bit of wrinkles there. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it though. Not perfect, but it'll do. It'll work. Flat poles are flat. No, all those. I don't know what the hell you call that. Actually, it was like the bottom of the smoke flat poles. The bottom smoke flat poles. So the anchor rope is in. And that anchors the whole bloody thing down pretty good so we don't go blowing off into the wind. Now those 2 stakes are almost 2 foot long. They're my biggest, longest stakes. Is drive me in at an angle and anchor it down that way. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, right? So this is set, anchor rope set back from center. Right, so I'm gonna put a wood stove in here, and the wood stove is gonna go right in front of that. So I need that. You need that room for your fire or your wood stove or whatever you're gonna use for heat and cooking. So liner rope is in. You can see, like, I use double, right, and that's another sisal rope. So the liner rope that came with the tipi was just garbage, so I got rid of that. So, but I like to double it, and the only thing I can tell you about this, and make sure when you run it, you go out around the outside or the inside of the pole, and then through the outside, right? And that'll come into play here if we were when it rains. So I'm going to run a stick. I'll run a stick right through here with a little groove in it, and the rain will run on down the pole instead of stopping at this knot and dripping on me. So I like to double. It's it can get kind of saggy after a bit, so doubling it gets it a little bit more strength. So liner comes in 3 sections, right? And one section has got one little panel more, and that's the one I'm going to start with. So that extra panel will go across the door come winter time. I mean, she did. Oh, she knows. Oh, she made herself a little nest. So liner's up. Now, honestly, I don't know, like right there, we got sags. Honestly, I don't know how to keep the sags out of there. Any lodge I've ever put up, I've always ended up having some sort of snag or saggy parts. But there is a solution to that problem, and I'll show that to you in just a second. So there's a solution to the saggy liner. That's the only one I know of anyway. If you do know of a better way, yeah, please write it down or mention it in the comments. So yeah, because I'd love to know how to get a non-saggy liner without having to use the liner sticks. Well, there she is. A little bit of getting ready for winter left to do. We need a wood stove in there, but I don't know. She's ready to test the New Mexico winter. Oh, hit that a little bit more. There you go. My thing's gonna be tested. My strip sticks are gonna be tested tonight. So let's see how this. So it is one hell of a downpour. I want to see how the strip sticks are working. Pretty good. Whew, there you go. So what I should do is move that left. I should do is move that left smoke flap over yet, and I wouldn't get any this rain on, or very low, this rain up here. So it's like, that's pretty freaking awesome there. Come here. Pretty awesome storm. Oh, an hour later. Yeah. Oh, 2 hours later. Mimi and I are still dry. I mean,